Well, hey there, Purple people. It's time for another Purple Gang Gang style review. And be sure to stick around because we're going to learn new ninjutsu and magic. So let's jump right into this review of the Mezco 112 Storm Shadow. And the first thing we're going to start with is hands. You got a lot of hands with this gentleman. 7 pairs of hands to be exact. You start off with the fist hands, weapons holding hands, your effects hand, your additional weapon holding hand, another pair of weapon holding hands, smoke bomb hands, and of course you've got your shuriken holding hands, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. Yeah, they definitely didn't skimp it when it came to the hands. You got a lot of things to work with, especially like those wall climbing hands with the spikes on the palms. You know, they just didn't take any shortcuts. Storm Shadow is well equipped. And speaking of equipment, let's get into the weapons and accessories. We're going to be spending some time here because he's got a lot of those as well. So starting off, we've got the shurikens, the kunai or throwing knives, and the smallest shuriken, which, hey, just a heads up, easy to lose. On the shurikens, we've got 3 each of the large ones and 6 of the small ones and 6 of the kunais. He also comes with a pair of sais, a pair of nunchucks, a pair of kamas or scythes, and I'll get back to his swords. He also has a bow that breaks down as well as a quiver of arrows, which the 3 of the arrows are removable. Pretty cool. Now, circling back to the 2 swords, the smaller of the 2 is known as the wakizashi. That's, shorter backup sword. And the larger one is referred to in this pack as the odachi, which, going into this, I assumed it was a katana. Come to find out, an odachi is actually traditionally a 2-handed sword. Speaking of the swords, they do go directly into the sheath. I will note that when I first got the wakizashi, it was a little difficult going in, and I just, slowly, persistently got it in there, and as you can see, it holds it tight. It's a good hold. Going to the quiver, as I mentioned, and you can see when you look at the front side of the quiver where the arrows are protruding in the view, those are the 3 you can remove. The others are not removable, so I would not suggest trying that. And the kamas or scythes, they mount right to the side. You see the blade actually goes into the quiver on either side, and at that point, you've got a majority of his weapons stowed right there. So, smart design. I really like the way he's able to hold the weapons there. And as I mentioned earlier, the bow does break down. Be careful with this. You're going to want to pull it out and then fold in. Don't just try to fold it. You will more than likely snap it. So you got to pull it. You'll feel it give a little bit, and then it'll tuck right in, pops right back out, just like the Mezco Robin bow. And as if the weapon storage system isn't cool enough, once you've got everything in there, you can go on ahead and pop the katana sheaths on there. You just flip it over. You'll see that it goes right in there, a couple of 2 holes, pops right in, and then it will secure to the back of his bandolier. And the kunai and little shurikens pop right in there. You can wedge the larger shuriken in there, but you won't get as many. And the nunchucks even have a little holster. They just fold in half, and you slide them right here into this, let's call it a nunchuck holster on his leg. Now that we got Storm Shadow equipped, let's go into the effects. So this goes with the 5-finger spread hand, and it is a smoke bomb effect, to give off the impression he's throwing a smoke bomb. And it is pressure mounted, just like the shurikens that attach to the sword. So make sure you are utilizing the proper effect. And then we have the shuriken throwing effect that goes with the shuriken throwing hand, which is the one with the kind of 3 fingers sticking up. And then we have the shuriken hand. That was the one at the top that was solo. It can also hold the, regular sized shurikens. You can also get in the smaller shurikens as well as the kunai. I did not try it for the video, kind of wish I had, but I'm fairly certain you could probably get multiple, kunai or multiple shurikens in there. That'd look cool, right? And moving right along, let's talk head sculpt. So he comes with the traditional masked, kind of stoic face, and then he has the one that looks like he was just maced. It's got a little pink wash in there. Not really sure what was going on, and I've definitely tried to keep him shrouded for most of the video. And without further ado, the final head sculpt. That's right, he has 3. Is the unmasked Storm Shadow head sculpt. Personal favorite for me. And I can imagine that won't be a popular opinion. Now it's time to talk articulation. Roll that wonderful nunchuck footage. That's right, everybody wanted to know, can we get the behind the back nunchuck pose? Of course we can. The first thing I had to do when I started talking articulation was bust out them chucks, make sure they go behind the back, because otherwise they ain't working right. As to figure articulation, he can almost do the Van Damme split, not quite. Got the double jointed legs that they'll go back there. He could probably kick himself in the back of the head if he really tried. Standard ankle pivot, that we've come to expect with Mezco. Double jointed arms, as evidenced by the nunchuck pose, right? And of course, he can hit his T poses. He works out. He keeps himself limber. Yeah, that's what ninjas do, right? They got to be able to do all these things, or else they wouldn't be ninjas. They wouldn't be able to climb up walls, and they wouldn't be able to do cool kicks. Now, I will say the ab crunch, as you've probably heard, is not significant. Looking at it from the side, you can see I'm not getting a lot of bend, and that's definitely one critique myself as well as others have had with this figure. But hey, let's move past that. Let's get into some size comparisons. First size comparison we got here is the Mafex Dark Knight Returns Joker. They're about the same size for the most part. They would scale well together. And let's take another look at that Joker. I just love this guy. It looks like he's having a bad day. Got a smoke in the hand and a batarang in the eye. Moving along, next up we got the NECA Usagi Yojimbo. No big surprise here. Storm Shadow towers over him. But hey, it's not the size of the dog or rabbit. It's the size of the fight in that rabbit. Probably got that saying wrong. But either way, what I'm trying to say is I believe that Usagi will put up one heck of a fight. And I'm not necessarily going to say that the bigger ninja is going to win, which actually Usagi's a samurai, isn't he? But yeah. Next size comparison, we got a Mythic Legions Templar builder with a Van Johnson head sculpt and a Darla Ackerman cape. That's right, I said a Darla Ackerman cape. And the Mezco's a little smaller than the Mythic Legions, but look at that Darla Ackerman cape. I tell you one thing. I know we're reviewing the Mezco Storm Shadow, but I'm going to go ahead and take a second to talk about these Darla Ackerman capes. The wiring is amazing. The stitching is to scale, and the color selection is just absolutely popping. I mean, look at that sparkle. So yeah, all I can say is definitely get your hands on some of those Darla Ackerman capes. If you don't already have them, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, and owning Darla Ackerman capes is not one. And moving on to our next comparison, we have a toy Detolf scaled for my toys. So here we got Storm Shadow posing up next to it. It's a little taller than him, so I'd say the Detolf isn't to scale because it's not on risers, but you get the gist. It's fun, right? That's what we do here. It's fun. We play with our toys, and our toys have toys. Final size comparison. This is the showdown you've wanted to see. Mezco Shadow Assassin Gomez versus Mezco Storm Shadow. And yeah, size comparison, the antenna comes out on top. They're about the same, right? And as you know already, I can't do a review and a size comparison without introducing the figures to the fam. So without further ado, first off, we have Len LaGuardia, our wonderful sponsor. Of course, we got Wizard Richard. We got Jordan chilling back there, and a more accurately scaled Van wearing a Darla Ackerman cape, of course. And there we go, Storm Shadow. Oh, he's fam now. He's got his purple heart. He's just loving to be here. And now that he's here, let's go ahead and get our final thoughts. Now, I feel like the soft goods were well executed. I love the weapon storage. I will admit my bandolier did come detached. I just tucked it right in there, moved it to where I needed to. So it wasn't really a problem for me. The ab crunch, I definitely see how that would upset some people, myself being one of them. He's a ninja. I felt like he should have got a little more ab crunch to him. I hear that the Snake Eyes has more ab crunch to him. So I'll definitely want to open him up. When I do, I'll definitely get a more accurate comparison between the two. But all in all, I'm not saying to throw away your G.I. Joe classified Storm Shadow because there's obviously a major price difference between them. But this is, in my collection, the definitive Storm Shadow. He's just amazing. I'm not going to lie, this figure's so great, this is definitely going to entice me to open up my other Mezco G.I. Joes that I haven't gotten to. This is one you definitely want to add to your collection. And while I've got your attention, I'm certain you've noticed the flashing text back and forth at the bottom of your screen, and I just want to invite you to be sure to check out the Purple Gang Gang live stream every Saturday night at 9 p.m. on our YouTube channel. And, you never know, you might win some toys. Pretty sure if you tune in and subscribe to the channel, it'll definitely increase your chances, because otherwise, you're not going to win our free toys, right? So stay purple, and thanks for watching this review.
Purple Gang Gang.